Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host Kelly Pally, and today we are counting down the top 10 secrets Marvel doesn't want you to know, or do they? About Spider-Man specifically. So this is more so a video about the things that Marvel would rather you forget about Spidey. Because let's be honest, if they didn't want you to know, this information wouldn't be accessible in the first place. We wouldn't be able to Google it. We wouldn't even know. So with that little tidbit in mind, let's jump in. In at number 10 is creator controversy. Let's start off with a painstakingly frustrating debate of who Spider-Man's true creators are. According to comic historian Greg Theakston, Jack Kirby had approached Stan Lee about a character idea that he had initially formed with Joe Simon back in the 50s. But the story that he had approached Stan Lee with was a little bit different, aside from the protagonist living with an old couple. After Kirby whipped up a few pages, Lee wanted to go in a different direction. Steve Ditko, who was supposed to ink the story, was then turned to, and he formed the visual style of the character, which has pretty much remained consistent ever since. While there's no doubt that Ditko should be credited as a creator, Kirby contended Lee's involvement, which was seconded by Eric Stanton, who shared a studio with Steve Ditko at the time of the character's creation. Up next at number 9 is The Amazing Spider-Man from 1978, the series. Here's another one you guys are probably pretty familiar with. This one makes the list for being an adaptation that Marvel would likely rather forget about. Unlike the glorified 60s Adam West Batman series, here we have a product of the late 70s that produced a whole lot of cringy campiness, as opposed to adored campiness. Producer Daniel R. Goodman helmed the show, and consistently clashed with Stan Lee over the direction of the show. We even called it too juvenile. The show was eventually canned due to CBS wanting to not be perceived as a one-dimensional superhero network, having the likes of the Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, and others also under its belt. Up next, number 8 is his parents. While this is still common knowledge that is Googleable, it's kinda muffled and a little bit odd and strange, and it's something that most people tend to forget about, probably for the best. Back in 1968's Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 5, it was revealed that Peter's parents were accused of treason when he was a small infant. Turns out they were secret agents infiltrating an organization headed by the Third Red Skull in KGB. They died in a plane crash because their aircraft was sabotaged by that organization. So flash forward to Amazing Spider-Man 365 in 1992. The Green Goblin has created robots to impersonate his parents. In between those two times, nothing else was said about his parents. Then, in 1997, in Untold Tales of Spider-Man -1, since it was a flashback issue month, it's revealed that they are agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who once were tasked with saving Wolverine, which, while saving him, find out that they're pregnant with Peter. So with a story that has fluctuated this much, it's easy to see why the whole silly cyborg plot was written off originally, with his parents being robots because of the Green Goblin. And it ended up just turning out to be a personal ploy by the Green Goblin, just to Peter more. Needless to say, it's all very confusing and all over the place. Good times. Up next, number 7 is Spider-Man Kills. So Peter Parker isn't perfect. Yes, he's a relatable hero whose thematic battle with inadequacy and coming of age spoke to a lot of readers. And yeah, he's grown up a lot since then. But in the past, he has been a bit of a dick. And as we've seen with Batman, even when a hero has a code of morals that they try to stick to, sometimes things get a little bit on the gray side. And murder happens. Which is definitely the case with Peter when he accidentally punches Wolverine's friend Charlie in the face so hard that it kills her in Spider-Man vs. Wolverine, FYI. It's definitely one of those times, and I think we can cut him some slack for that. I mean, murder is murder, but still. Now though, let's take a look at that time that he killed Moondark. When on vacation grieving after Gwen Stacy's death, Peter kicks Moondark through a portal above the Golden Gate Bridge, killing him. Upon saying, "Guess nobody but me will ever remember what went on tonight," he feels it's appropriate to then crack a joke about the murder. Harsh, dude. Real harsh. And at number 6 is Spider-Man killed Mary Jane with sex. Speaking of killing, during the Spider-Man Reign story arc, Peter gives Mary Jane cancer from sex. His sperm is radioactive and gives her cancer, and fans were all like, "Are you kidding me?" So yeah, that was a thing. Up next, number 5 is fan rage. So these days, many of you probably know that the Black Spider symbiote suit was one of the more popular suits that Peter has ever donned, but there was a whole lot of controversy about it before it even made its debut in Secret Wars. Marvel was getting a lot of hate mail about it, so writers had to come up with a way to remove the costume from Peter, enter the symbiote storyline. But then the tide changed again. Fans actually loved it. And this time around, artist Todd McFarlane told Marvel that he didn't want to draw it. So the story changed furthermore. Peter rejects the suit after Reed Richards helps him get it off, and then the alien symbiote is real sad dad, finds Eddie Brock who's about to commit suicide, and then ends up bonding with him instead. The rest is history. Up next, number 4 is Norman Osborn and Gwen Stacy's weird affair. In Amazing Spider-Man 509, a mystery starts to unravel concerning the now deceased Gwen Stacy. Over the next few issues, Peter discovers that Gwen was secretly pregnant, and secretly gave birth to twins, who, although were birthed prematurely, had grown to full adulthood incredibly fast. And for whatever reason, they were targeting Peter, even threatening Aunt May and Mary Jane's lives. So after DNA tests, he finds out that the two children are 100% Gwen's. When telling MJ about this, she then reveals to Peter that she knows the truth of who the father of Gwen's kids really was, having overheard an argument between Gwen and Norman Osborn, that Gwen then explained to her afterwards. So MJ retells Peter the full story, and naturally he's horrified. Real horrified. Moving on. Up next, number 3 is Randian Objectivism. So it may come as a bit of a surprise to you guys that Steve Ditko was greatly influenced by Ayn Rand and her philosophy of objectivism. If you're unfamiliar with what objectivism is, let me break it down for you guys as simply as I can. Objectivism is the belief that the moral purpose of one's life is the pursuit of one's own happiness through rational self-interest. That reason is the means of human knowledge, and that the individual's primary moral obligation is to achieve his or her own well-being. The philosophy rejects the ethical doctrine of altruism, so charity. Yeah. That's a mouthful there. So how did this influence his run on Spider-Man? Subtly, of course. Towards the end of Ditko's run, there's one infamous scene where Peter remarks on the lack of productivity that protests actually have, by hassling a bunch of student protesters. The ideology seeped into some of his other work as well, like Hawk and Dove, ever so subtly. Up next, number 2 is the 1984 Spider-Man Molestation. So if the radioactive splooge wasn't enough for you guys, or the weird love affair between Osborn and Gwen Stacy, this one kinda takes the cake, which is terrible because it's actually a pretty well done PSA on how to deal with sexual assaults, which is incredibly important. And for some fans, it did elicit a positive reaction. To others, well, it's gone down as a bit of a what the hell moment. So, regardless of that, the story is that Spidey overhears a babysitter trying to molest a young boy, in a very untactful and blunt way. She's really aggressive about it, and not subtle at all. He then tells this kid about a boy I know. This kid starts a friendship with an older man who then shows him nudie mags and wants to conduct an experiment of his own with Peter. The good thing is, this boy that Peter talks to is inspired to talk to his parents about his babysitter, which I guess is good. Right? That's something. And finally, in at number 1 is where the money comes from. It's easy to see why Spider-Man is iconic, and why he's been one of the most best-selling Marvel superheroes of all time. So much so that he is actually the most profitable superhero for the company in general. But that's not where he rakes in the dough. Oh no, not from the comics or the movies, but rather the merch. In 2013, Marvel sold around $13 billion of Spidey products, which greatly surpassed other Marvel heroes and DC heroes at the time, none of which at that point had surpassed the $1 billion point. I mean, hey, that's impressive. Alright guys, there we have it. Did you guys know most of these facts? Are there any that you didn't know? Which ones do you think Marvel regrets the most? And which ones do you find the most interesting? Let me know in those comments below. But for now, I've been Kelly Pally, and this has been Top 10 Nerd, and I will catch you guys in the next one.